Hello. It's a very beautiful world that we live in. There are all kinds of people, all kinds of things to look at, all kinds of spaces to be in, all kinds of energies, and different kinds of experiences from which to live life, from which to learn, to become. And also, in becoming, in reciprocating, giving back, receiving and taking, and giving and contributing. We become, and in our becoming, we are also determined by what we give back, what we make available in the world, may be determined as being a blessing on the planet, blessing to people around us, or many other things. Now, one of the things that affects a person's ability to give or to receive appropriately is violence. Violence of many kinds shuts down a person. And shut down in many ways. They could shut down to receiving, so that they're not receiving any more hurt, or they shut down to giving, so that they're not giving anything, because when they give, they're getting hurt. Violence is quite a determinant for why people may be being the way they are being and behaving, and the changes in how they become over time. In a particular environment, some people become healthier, some people become sicker because of the different experiences they are experiencing. Now, violence can be something that others perpetrate on us in different forms. It could be actual physical violence, it could be emotional, it could be intellectual, it could be spiritual, it could be energetic. It could be many kinds. It could be subtle, it could be very gross, it could be many kinds of intensities in between. And the most violent form of violence is that which we perpetrate on our own self. One of the very disturbing, one of the maybe primary reason for different kinds of violences is because people don't listen. When somebody doesn't listen, then who is not being heard, who has not been listened to, tries to find more aggressive ways to say to express what they want to express, what needs to be expressed, so that they are heard in some way. And sometimes it's in words which may be pelting. Sometimes it's in action, so that okay, now somebody's in pain, and now that you're in pain, you now listen. So we have different forms of violence, and I think in my purview, these are all different ways by which they're saying, pay attention to what I'm saying. If we listen, a lot of the violence comes down. In the people around us, we sometimes call some people as naggers, because they're nagging, because they're saying the same thing over and over. And if what they're saying has been listened to, they would not have to repeat again. A lot of the violence that we experience is because we're not listening. And in this range, the most severe form of that violence, severe form for why violence happens, is because we don't listen to our own self. Our body is quite sensitive to the experiences of living that we go through, that we have the opportunity to experience as we move to different spaces, from having been alive, from having come to life. We have our body as our very fine instrument. I would call it as a barometer by which we experience life, by which we know what is right, what is wrong, and what is healthy, what is not. And when we don't listen to an instrument, like say a thermometer, you use a thermometer, you put it in a warm glass of water, or a cool one. It tells you things, it gives you information. When you don't listen to, you don't pay attention to what the thermometer is saying, and then you say, I'm going to make my own decisions. The ability of what becomes possible from an instrument like a thermometer is lost. Our body is quite sensitive. We have so many features in our body. When we pay attention to what our body is saying, to what information is coming through our 5 senses, through our body, then we are able to know what is safe, what is unsafe, what is conducive to health, and what is not. And accordingly, we can make changes. If something is violent, if somebody is being violent, and if you're not paying attention to the violence that we are experiencing, that we are subjected to, then it continues. And when we do pay attention to it, and we do take appropriate remedies, the violence stops. Even the person who's violating is also hurting. It's just like a person who's speaking so long and it's not being listened to. Then what needs to be said needs to be heard, and so they use more aggressive ways by which to express so that they are heard. So the person who is violating what is called as violence is also experiencing so much of hurt. So when the person who's subjected to, per se, the violence, pays attention to the experience that they are having, and they respond appropriately, not violently back. Not violence need not be violent, be responded with violence. An eye for an eye has the whole world go blind. That is not how you heal hurts. If somebody is hurting, you don't hurt them back. You find a balm for it. So when you find an appropriate response, which could heal the hurt, which may even just be listening to who's saying something, or who's doing something which may not be so very healthy, listening to them, paying attention to what they are not able to say. They may even be actually expressing a hurt which they don't know how to say. That in itself could begin the healing process for them and for you and for relationships and for people around us. This is a topic which is very dear to me and cannot be spoken enough about, because I don't think we have enough people speaking about this. I don't know if it's in the way I'm saying it, but then there is some very important conversations which are not being had, which is not in popular discussions. I will speak further on this because this is something which needs to be said and heard. Thank you for listening.